G'day, listeners. Welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer.
I'm reading the script wrong. Sorry, go.
My name's Jordan Spencer, and it's that time of the week where I get to talk to really cool sailors. But of course, as is clearly evident, I have to share the mic with two idiot mates. First off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
BP.
Oh, boss, you've thrown me too, mate. That was fun.
G'day, world.
I was going to get all sort of, like cool and like I normally do. But I just can't be cool right now. No. Just as we all sort of think that, what sailing is, the industry is just cruising along. It just gets more and more exciting. What we've got today is super cool. And there's still cool stuff going on. So I love talking about it with you boys.
Oh,
how are you?
Beauty. Well, let's bring the other bloke so he can respond because we haven't heard from him yet.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick interrupting Bice.
I had your line, BP. It was this one. Get an exalted one. Life. It's a funny. Boys, yeah, I'm in a bit of a jovial mood. It's been a bit of an upside down turnaround week. Finished with Port Stephens last weekend. Sail Port Stephens.
Yes.
Well done. So well. Good work.
Had a good result. Third, wasn't it? Third overall?
Yeah, third overall. I wasn't part of the team on the last day, of which it was what they explain as a NARM off.
Yeah,
solid 30 plus knots before the start. And the race committee rightly so called it after one lap, after the secret men's business, for those that followed.
Had a little check of the hull.
Yeah, just made sure that nothing was wrapped around the sail drive or anything. So, but that's cool.
Yeah.
And the boys finished a creditable third. But what a regatta, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Hadn't you sailed there before?
Well, I have sailed there before, but sailed inside. And that's the pity I mentioned last week, but you're in this beautiful area and we're on the big boats, so you don't really sail inside. You sail outside, but what a beautiful place.
It is.
Indeed.
Spend more time. And, but reason for not finishing is I had to just go over and attend a little bit of business in the United Kingdom for 36 hours or so.
Put the crown on his head or what?
Well, yep, Charlie gave me a call. No, I was actually hanging with Camilla and Kate.
I was going to say, you're at the coronation.
Plenty of flags, Union Jacks getting around, but I won't go into the exact business while I was over there. But whilst I was over there, but Barkarati was mentioned. This will be coming out when court documents allow it to happen. Because it was a pretty funny story, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But slight delay on the way over, which worked in our favour, or my favour, which meant I could be watching the Sail GP final live whilst sitting on the plane, which I'll talk about in a sec. But the slight delay on the way over. I
was just going to say, how shitty are slight delays?
What a shitter, eh? What a shitter.
So 6 a.m. flight out of Sydney, get to the airport at 4 or something like that. So you're up at 3:30 at the hotel, airport hotel, get to the plane, get on board. Might as well just have a bit of a snooze while we're here. I kind of wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. We're still on the tarmac. And I'm like, oh, what's this about? Definitely going to miss my connection.
What a shit.
End up landing in Dubai and definitely missed the connection. So we catch the bus to the hotel, which I'm there for 12 hours, and someone has explained what had happened. And apparently someone on board has done that. She's had an absolute shitter all over the business class seat.
Oh,
business class.
Yeah.
Holy God.
Wow.
So
that.
they had to get her off the plane. Like she's had a full, it's not a medical. I guess it's some sort of medical,
too
but
many gins do that
in not a good way. And
the Metamucil's cut in.
They had to get her off the plane, had to clean the plane, had to do a whole bunch of other stuff. So that delayed us by that 2 hours, which was the magic number to miss the connection.
Mr. Bice sleeps through the whole lot.
Yeah, slept through the whole lot. Didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
So, yeah, we all have a bit of a chuckle on the bus going to the hotel. And then I arrive instead of at 10 p.m. on the Sunday night into the UK. I'll get there at 7 a.m. the next morning, and it's the public holiday of the coronation.
Of course, it is.
So I go for a bit of a stroll about town, and I'm like, I've got a bit of movement. And all I could think about is this poor lady on the plane who just could not control herself.
Oh, dear.
And I'm like, oh, God, what do I do? I was way too far away from our hotel. Could not find any public toilets anywhere. There's about 2 million people just everywhere, but nothing's open. So I sneak into this hotel thinking I'll just be able to just rush off into the toilets. Cannot find the toilets anywhere. Looking around, make out I'm buying a coffee from the little cafe in the foyer. And then there it is. It's like a golden light, the toilet sign. Got to go upstairs. And as I'm halfway up the stairs, fire alarm goes off. And what do? Do I keep going? Do I stop? Do I go back? And it's like, no, I am fully committed now. I've taught myself into it. And those hotels are like little rabbit warrens in the UK. So I'm rushing around the first level, and some bloke sees me running, and he goes, "Oh no, you don't have to rush. It's only a drill. They do it every Monday." And I'm like,
You said no, it's not.
No, mate, this isn't a drill.
Yeah.
Finally made it. And I just thought to myself, yep, that is your fault for laughing at that poor woman.
I was just going to say.
Karma. That's karma has come and got me. Absolute kicked me fair square in the jaw. And so if anything like that happens to anyone ever again, I will not be laughing because
that's good.
Yeah, someone got me.
I would have said to the hotel worker, I'm full of fire suppressant. I'm ready to unload it.
I can put this bastard out.
Just point me at the fire. I've got it covered.
But like I was saying though, Flying Emirates, they have a channel called Sports 24 on which basically plays all the premium sporting events around the world live.
See?
One of which was the grand final, or the $1 million race for Sail GP. So as I was, reboarded the plane, started watching it, and I think it was the last of the fleet racing. And then, of course, comes straight over is the pre-race, pre-flight, bloody, do your seatbelt up, wear your life jacket, all that sort of stuff.
Right at the critical time.
Right at the critical time. So I go to my phone, go to KO on full roaming and watch a little bit. And it's like 10 minutes long, the bloody safety briefing.
Yeah.
So I'm watching on KO for like 10 minutes. And then it goes back over and I get to watch the $1 million race on Sports 24. And then I get home. Had you from Vodafone? Glad you had a good time overseas. These are the extra charges you've incurred. That 10 minutes cost me $90.
No.
Roaming charges.
Wow. Because they don't cover. Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. Heinous.
All right. Well.
Anyway, I've had some fun. Yeah.
Well, we'll come back to Sail GP.
Yes.
But ahead of that, we probably should bring in our guests because I think they'll be falling asleep right about now.
Yeah.
Wake up.
All right. I'll bring them in.
Wake up.
All right. So plural. I said guest plural because as you can tell by the boat behind me, I'm mad for the Cup and I'm mad for that little AC40 boat. I'm a big fan. And what we decided to do this week, thanks to the mighty efforts of Mr. Brett Perry, was to organise a get-together where we could talk about the Cup. But rather than just the main gig, we wanted to talk about the youth and the women. Some of the teams are starting to be announced, and the whole element of the Cup where they get to sail in the AC40s, the youth get the opportunity, the women get to sail. It's going to be intermixed right during the racing. Led to the opportunity. We spoke to, I think, episode 203, Isabella Berthold, and we talked about the Canadian team, the Canada team. And
from Canada. Canada.
Yeah, so we wanted to, obviously the Aussie team is one we're interested in, but we wanted to have this conversation around how it's going to work, what it's going to look like. So, if you're a fan of the racing and you want to understand, how to put the team together, the whole process, we thought, let's think about that because there's, a lot to it. Let's find out about it all. So we invited our guests who are the principals of the Team Australia Challenge and the patrons. So we are very happy to welcome both Nina Curtis, who was on episode 104, silver Olympic medalist, Olivia Price, silver Olympic medalist, hasn't been on officially bar karate before, and of course Mr. John Bertrand, episode 120, and I don't know, what's John done? Much?
Hung around.
Kind of a legend. The great man, Mr. John Bertrand. So it's a real pleasure to have on bar karate to talk about the America's Cup, Team Australia Challenge. Team, welcome to bar karate.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Pretty excited to chat about all things America's Cup, Women's America's Cup for the first time.
Yeah, it's good to have you, Liv. The others have been on the show. You and I have been chatting for a while, but we haven't got you on yet.
No, I guess first time caller. Yeah, super excited to chat with you guys.
Obviously, the focus here is to talk about the Cup. So one thing is that we're extremely excited to see this team and the three people here on the call, to have both you and Nina and also Mr. Bertrand sitting there as well as patron. It gives this challenge some real impetus. We're at that stage where we're seeing some of the teams announced. This is happening. So let's just explain what's going on. So I want the listeners are fully aware so they're switched on and behind you guys when this challenge comes about.
Okay, girls, take it away.
Do you want to take this on, Olivia?
Yeah, I guess for us it's a big thing to actually do an Australia-wide call out to get the best sailors in both the youth and the women's America's Cup. So we've started that process where we're getting applicants in from all different ranges of sailing, which is a really positive thing for us to have such a big spread of sailors that are actually coming in. As we keep going throughout this month, there's still plenty more that keep coming in. So it's a good thing for us to have such a big range of people to kind of think about and give the experience. This isn't just a one-off thing that we want to try and do. We're actually looking at the pathway of giving as much experience as possible.
Obviously, Nina and Liv, you did the 2012 games. You've won silver, and you've been through a program together. How did this start off? When was Nina? Did you approach Liv? Liv, did you approach Nina? How did it start? Because that's the big thing here. It's got to start off with a dream.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really core team of people driving this behind Olivia and I, and we definitely wouldn't have got through to this stage without their level of organisation and drive towards this common goal as well. So, I think everyone in Australia was thinking about it when it was all coming, and it just there's so many moving parts to this team at the moment, and we're so proud of the stage that we're at now with the entry and opening up to applicants for entry. And yeah, it's just this core team of incredible humans that have really helped Olivia and I get this dream over the line, and it's just as much their dream as it is ours. So yeah, we've got some guardian angels behind us, that's for sure.
Well, it's our dream as well.
Yeah.
You're too old for starters, BP.
Oh, damn it.
Anyway, but
that's the thing. So it is so core to Australia, the America's Cup. It's within our history, it's within our DNA. So it's always been a dream for Nina and I, but it's never really been a possibility. So we're, kind of making that path and figuring things out as we go. And as Nina said, the team behind us have been able to sort out all the cogs and turning wheels, and we actually just can't wait to start the sailing process and figuring out how we're going to take charge of these AC40s.
Yeah. When did those cogs start turning then, Liv? Was it as the minute it was announced about the Women's and Youth America's Cup, or did it take a bit of time to get to the next step?
Well, back in September is when it was all announced. So if you think about it, that's actually quite a long time ago. I guess my brother was pretty onto it and just kept sending me text messages, and I just didn't really respond because it wasn't really something that we really knew much about yet. But between September and December, there were a range of people that kind of put a program or an idea together. Let's start with the idea first. That then approached me and said, would you be interested? Can we get this off the ground? Firstly, can you fit it in? And I guess those conversations were ones that I had to have with a range of different people and actually really think about it. But the answer kept coming back to saying, well, you can't say no. This is an opportunity that is way too exciting. And of course, Nina, being the fantastic foiling sailor, we've been in a team together. She was the first call to make to see if we could get something going. And we're both pretty clear that this needs to be something that's bigger than just us and really bring in the best sailors that we can find.
So for you, John, when you saw or heard the announcement for the Women's and Youth America's Cup, did this fire a spark inside you in regards to what it's going to create for the nation?
Well, I guess through my lens, what I saw is that this is a unique opportunity in history, to be honest. You know, the America's Cup's been going for a long, long time, since before the US Civil War, to put it in context. Australia's only won the America's Cup once. Under the umbrella of the America's Cup, here we go, we've got the women's and youth teams able to compete in effectively one design AC40s under the umbrella of the America's Cup administration, which is run by the Kiwis. And this is really a national effort. You know, if you become a sponsor of the five rings, the Olympic Games, you know, companies pay hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to be involved as sponsors. And here we're going in here at a fraction of the budget of the full-blown America's Cup projects. And it is a fraction because all the equipment is supplied. And inaugural, like women being able to compete in the America's Cup, it's another world. The physical requirement on the boats, you know, all the energy stored. So it's not a physical issue. It's really just ability to race boats at the highest level. And boats meaning, you know, airborne projectiles now. You know, we're talking about flight.
It's a good reference.
Yeah, it's just another world. And youth, you know, between 18 and 25. So we've got two teams going to come from this proud nation of America's Cup sailors and Olympians and, you know, one design racers. And we're in there to give it a crack. So when they approached me to be patron, I thought, yeah, this is pretty special project. I very much like the people involved, which is, from my perspective, really, really important because I've been involved with, you know, 5 America's Cups over 25 years. And it's all about people, but the vision is really exciting. And, you know, we're up against 11 other nations, including all the America's Cup teams who'll be fielding their own youth and women's teams. And, you know, we're talking about the best operators in the world. So it's red hot. September, October next year. See you in Barcelona, everyone.
Yeah.
The beauty of that timing too, September, October, the racing is intermixed in whilst the America's Cup's going on. So it's right there. Profile is going to be extremely high because, you know, you'll go from America's Cup race to one of the youth races or the women's racing. So from that perspective, from a marketing perspective, it adds incredible value.
Absolutely. You know, Australian sailing will be involved. You know, this is a national effort. It's not, you know, a private syndicate by any means. And it's unique. But we're in the business, you know, I often say to people, you know, with all the talent that we have, it's fine. But in the world of America's Cup, no cash, no splash. It's a pretty binary type of thought process. So you've got to raise the bucks to make it work. And we're out there in the marketplace now as we speak to put this incredible project together. As I say, at a fraction of the cost of a full-blown America's Cup project, because we utilise all the technology. It's all there. We've just bought a flight simulator, and that will be utilised extensively to help in the preparation of the team selection and also preparation of the team members, and bring it on. It's pretty damn well. I think this has got the potential of cutting through the sport of sailing into the general public. It's hard, because we've got AFL, we've got cricket, we've got NRL, and so on and so forth. There's a huge amount of competition.
They're boring.
The Australian sailing team for Paris, people, Olivia's just come back from overseas, but nobody knows about it.
Yep.
Other than the mum and dad and the kids, literally. This has got the opportunity of cutting through to the general public to the level of maybe the build-up that we saw in the way back when we won the America's Cup. Not the final race, but, there was still a significant build-up. And I think this project, women in sport, very, very contemporary. Women racing sailboats at this high level, really interesting stuff. Like the photos are unbelievable.
Right.
And youth given a crack at this thing. So it's pretty damn interesting opportunity for the sport of sailing in this country.
Timing's perfect, right? I mean, look, if you look at the way the world is going with equality and everything, and I mean, we're all for it and we love it. And I guess one of the biggest thing is that, we see it and we have this opportunity now, and that's what it's about. Yeah.
I love the background, incidentally, Brett.
Thanks, mate. I
knew that would bring a tear to your eye, John.
It's
Yeah, little crossing there. It was a nice one, that crossing, I reckon.
And are we in front? Yes, we are, thank God.
Of course you are.
You picked the right photo.
The other guy there, that other bloke, he's behind you there. Yeah.
And we've got these girls racing these boats, beautiful stuff. And the boxing kangaroo, that was our battle flag. Red gloves for aggression, for taking on the world. Pumped up chest for the pride of the nation. And that was the battle.
The good parties, we're all got it, getting our gloves back on.
It was a great,
clearly the sailing part's the easy bit to talk about, which we'll talk about in a minute. But for Nina or Liv, the whole governance and the way you see that this campaign is set up and the structure that it's undertaking now, is this completely opening your eyes to where these campaigns are going now?
Well, if I
sure, John.
Give this a crack. Well, this is, as I say, under the umbrella of the America's Cup in Barcelona, run by Team New Zealand, Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, but Team New Zealand. In terms of governance, first of all, the structure of the syndicate, it is a not-for-profit organisation. The chair and the directors are very, very excellent in their own right in terms of legal background, accounting background, and so on. And from my perspective, I'm very, very comfortable in terms of how this project is going to go together. And as I say, it's a not-for-profit, red-hot opportunity for the country. We are recruiting some really interesting people in terms of the selection of the team, like really interesting people, which will make announcements in the medium short term. And generally, we've learned a lot within the world of America's Cup anyway. These are at the cutting edge. This can become highly political. 11 other nations. This will be full on the French and the Brazilians and so on. We've got some really interesting, some fabulous nations competing, as well as the existing America's Cup teams, including the Kiwis and the Americans and so on. And we'll need some pretty hard-nosed people to be able to work through the politics so that we can get these two teams, women's and youth, out on the racetrack unimpaired by all the noise that goes on, can go around them.
Almost shelter them and get them out there. And yeah,
that's right, Brett. Have to be. And the cup that we won, we had a guy called Warren Jones. He loved the smell of gunpowder. In other words, unless he was fighting the New York Yacht Club, he was bored. He was absolutely. This guy was red hot, and he had been through previous America's Cups before. He understood the lay of the land. He understood that, the Americans will eat their grandmother if required. That's the reality.
Have a analogy.
This is the world that we'll be entering into. This is not playtime. This is fair dinkum stuff.
Yep.
Australia taking on the world in the sport of high performance sailing. Yep.
All right. So we've got some pressure there. And as Bossy said, we'll hold off from talking about sailing for a sec while we're talking about the sort of business side of it and the structure of it. And again, to Olivia or Nina, from the perspective of this program, when you look at it, are there things that you feel like you guys will bring that we can be proud of outside of the sailing? Like where you can actually bring value back into Australia or something like that, or add development?
Yeah, this is definitely a long, although we may be the ones sailing the boats at the end of the day, this is a program that we hope to actually build the pathway for youth and women sailing and actually build the participation rates further down the chain. So at the grassroots level, it's something that you can see in the trend over the last few years, or multiple years actually, is the limiting ability of females to actually have the experience and the physical limitations. And what this opportunity does with the simulator, with the program that we're trying to create, it actually breaks down a lot of the barriers that maybe owning a boat and all the resources might actually build in again. So having the simulator access means that we can actually give more experience to more people for a longer period of time and actually build a program and a legacy that is contributing for years to come and reaping the benefits of actually giving this experience for years to come and building, I guess, the national pride around it too. As John said earlier, to have the Australian side of it and to break through into maybe becoming a mainstream sport for Australians to watch. You need more visibility, and this is doing that exactly.
Is it, Nina? I think there's something a little bit deeper than this. Obviously, you're about to give birth. You're 2 weeks away from giving birth. I think you're just planning for the future big time here. Do you think that that's the potential?
Look, I mean, it's something I've been pretty clear about. Like, a big passion of mine is, I popped out of the Olympic pathways and wasn't offered the same opportunities as my male peers. And that's been the case for my entire sailing career. And I've always been on the front foot in terms of opportunities opening up for females and jumped on it quite early. But I just see this America's Cup as like one of the greatest opportunities for females to be able to level up on a skill set compared to their male peers. And what excites me even more is that there's the youth competition going on alongside. So not only are we giving females like that direct connection, holding the steering wheel and pushing the buttons and making mistakes and learning, but at the same time, we're giving young people equal access to this in the form of a youth competition. And to me, like, bridging this skills gap, like, we've been, pushing through Sail GP and through Volvo Ocean Race and opening up opportunities. And it's been a real slog, and it's a slog for the athletes as well. I'm 10 years behind all my teammates in Sail GP because of their America's Cup experience. And that's something that's never been offered to me. So for this female opportunity alongside the youth is something I'm incredibly passionate about. And about to bring a small human into the world. I'd like to think that whether they're a boy or a girl, that they're going to have, if they're keen on sport, which they hopefully will be, they're going to have equal opportunity, and it's not going to, it's not going to make a difference. And so, for me, this is a legacy. And I mean, the other really exciting thing is if we can get Australia back on that start line to the America's Cup, I just think we have the most talented sailors, male, female, youth, scattered around the world, sailing for all sorts of under other national schemes and so forth. And I'm sick of it. I want us to sail under our own flag. And if this is what it takes to get Australia excited about the America's Cup and, put those first steps, and we get excited about the female and the opens, and I think it's going to open a whole new door. It's going to be good for sailing. It's going to be good for everyone involved.
Perfect. Absolutely. So being a middle-aged sailor myself and inspired by Australia 2 in 83, John, the question around the yacht club as a young fella, how old were you when you first went sailing? I wonder if the next question is, how old were you when you first went foiling from what we're developing now?
Well, there you go. So this shows age. So I started mucking around with boats when I was 7 or 8 years old. When we won the America's Cup, I was 36, and I have not foiled as yet.
Oh,
How pathetic is that? Actually, no, I foiled with Ben Ainslie on his boats in the UK before the Bermuda America's Cup program. Yeah, but not. I haven't done the Moth program, by yourself, jiving like Tommy Slingsby and all these crazy mates.
yep. Yeah.
The airborne projectiles.
Yeah, the airborne projectiles. Speaking of that, though, that opens up the whole discussion about evolution. And one of the things our sport has always done, and I say this every meeting I get into when people find out I'm a sailor, is that sailing has led the way, whether it's technological development, whether it's materials development, whether it's, sailing throughout the history of the earth has been an innovator and developer of new ideas. One thing we're doing really well, and from an environmental perspective, sailing has led the way for many years now. Is there a time for the team on this front at all? Is that something that's going to be happening as well?
What do you think, girls?
Well, I think there's something happening with one of the things that the growth of hydrogen power, I think, is something that I'm seeing in
the spin-offs. Yeah, no question. The trickle down. So again, I give great accolade to Grant Dalton and his team for pushing, for example, hydrogen-powered chase boats. Now, when I first read it, I thought that's interesting, but my golly, are they on the button? Because this whole green push is real. Hydrogen is really at the cutting edge, and we're talking about green hydrogen now in terms of the fuel that these boats are using, foiling and so on. Every syndicate has to buy one of these chase boats, and from what I understand, they're proving to be extremely efficient and extremely effective. They all have to be able to travel at least 50 knots, to partake in all the observation and so on. And now hydrogen, really we're talking about the cutting edge of technology here that relates to, and they produce the turbines to make that work. Mm-hmm. So, good on them. It's cutting edge stuff. The whole world of foiling, the moths, let's face it, the 12-foot moths have led the way there, but, good on them in terms of leading into the Bermuda America's Cup. As we see now, the Sail GP boats, incredible machines. And now the owner of, it's not Bertrand, who's the owner of Prada?
Bertelli.
Bertelli apparently put money into Team New Zealand leading into the last America's Cup, but on the proviso that if you folks win it, because they pulled out, they didn't like the rule changes halfway through, but if you win it, the future America's Cup has to be monohull. Well, the Kiwis have come up with this one design boat, which is now superior to a catamaran in terms of speed. Mm. And they've just, again, changed the game. I can't, give them enough accolade in terms of how visionary the Kiwis have. So here we are running around. These AC40s they're a beautifully elegant, simple design solution to a very, very complex problem. And when I know Grant Simmer, for example, first saw them, he said these things won't fly.
I think we all said that.
Yeah.
No, we didn't, BP.
And I scratched my head, and I've got a fairly extensive technology background, and by golly, not only they fly, but they're beautiful. And talking to Glenn Ashby yesterday, actually, he said that again, it's the solution, the design complete package that the Kiwis have generated with these AC40s is beautiful in every way. And basically, plug and play, get out, go for it, and hold your breath, and let's go.
Yeah.
Good luck to them. So there's trickle down all the way through, not only the marine industry, but other industries as well, with these extraordinary technology pushes that not only the Kiwis, but the Brits and the Italians and so on, they're all pushing hard. These projects now are in the order of $200 to $300 million Australian dollar projects. So there's a lot of money going into the technology. The Brits, for example, one of their major key partners is Mercedes Formula One team.
Yep.
And Mercedes F1 employ 1,000 engineers. for the road car. So that technology is now available to the Brits. Now, the problem is there's so many opportunities. How many rabbit holes do you go down and not run out of time? The Kiwis are pretty good, pragmatic in that space. But nevertheless, we're all beneficiaries of this incredible technology that's happening as we speak.
It is true. It is absolutely true. I apologise, BP, but I mean, I love your boat, the X2, but the AC40 is probably my favourite boat on the planet at the moment. And from Nina and Liv, you guys get to go and sail this thing and steer this thing, which, you know, we're going to be calling the friendship card in pretty hard one day when we can get a chance. But how close have you got to, now that you've entered, how long till you sail one? What's the breakdown? And, you know, when can you get your hands on one? What's the story?
Just to lead into all of that, I do think that it's the most exciting boat. But the other awesome thing is that there's something like pretty special about one design racing as well, in terms of like really testing the skill set of athletes. And it's something that I've been quite passionate about my entire sailing career. And so it just really appeals to me that this competition's going to be on one design boats that are going to be like properly dialed in. And I think it's going to lead to some of the most spectacular, like fireworks style kind of, and very engaging racing, because we're going to be able to push it because these boats are going to be tested for us. In terms of us getting hands-on, I do think that the first stages will be simulator based, and we're making really good traction towards getting onto that, and then, you know, getting onto the boats. And that's where, you know, our budget's really going to come into its own. The more money we can generate, the more time we can spend on these boats, the more we can really like sink our teeth in. And I tell you what, we've got, we just can't wait. It's just going to be like that realized dream when we do get to jump on board. And it's going to be really exciting.
Hey, Nina, just a word of advice, having witnessed the Team New Zealand simulator a few times, don't just jump in one just yet with 2 weeks to go before you give birth, because it might bring it on a little early.
I feel like, you know, first trimester of pregnancy might have prepared me really well with, you know, any bombs or anything that might be coming from the simulator. Who knows?
You've got a date, obviously, when you receive a boat. Can you tell us when that is?
That's June 30th next year.
And is that everyone? Is that all of the teams? So
Yes.
basically, it's an even playing field.
In theory, however, the teams which are the current America's Cup teams, like the Kiwis,
They've already got them.
have got them, and in theory, they don't have a jump start, but you have to assume they will.
Well, there's got to be information coming down the path, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm guessing the information coming down the path, though, is going to make the boats a little simpler to handle, right? So everything that's being done now out in Hauraki Gulf in regards to the trim of the boat and the way the boats are sailed is going to make it easier to jump in and be on the pace relatively quickly.
Yeah, and if you look at the big picture, they probably want everyone to be competitive. There's, you know, they would have that element that they want everyone to hit the ground running, right?
Yeah, so the AC40s are the development test boats for each of these syndicates, the 6 syndicates, and they're creating different foils and, you know, monitoring and getting data. And my God, you know, it's all up in the cloud and back to UK for analysis in real time, all that stuff. But for this competition, for both youth and women's, they'll be brought back to one design status, the same foils, everything. And the first round of our sailing will be the non-America's Cup team and nations, including Australia, Brazil, and so on. And then, you know, our teams will biff it out and hopefully get through to taking on the aligned syndicates, the other 6 nations post that time.
It's been quite clever in the way they've done the draw, and that the 2 sides to the draw. So the existing teams are on one side and they've invited teams on the other. So you're going to get the top 2 teams out of those 2 sides, which makes it fair if there is sort of advantage. And by the time they come together in the finals, there should be that experience. So it is going to be quite exciting to watch. From a skipper management perspective, when you're building your team, how many people, like, you know, we've seen some teams announced. I've actually seen the French team just yesterday. I think I saw it announced. How many people are you going to put in the team, or is that budget dependent, and what are you looking for?
Okay, so each team has 4 people on the boat. So we're talking between 6 and 8 for each team, which includes, so-called reserves and so on, but certainly 6 to 0 down to 4. And let me say, there's another angle here. Nina's about to give birth, okay, a new mum.
So does that count as 2 people? Is that where you're going, John?
No, but the other, depends on the extra weight required. But I heard Nina talk the other day, and she was talking about female sailing athletes. And I love that. When I came back and I told Raza, my wife, about that, she thought, how cool is that? Female sailing athletes. Now, there's a really interesting story, in my opinion, it's an interesting story here. So Nina's going to give birth pretty quick, and, hopefully it all goes well, etc. And then she's going to get back into the fray. Now, Nina's a tough cookie, as you probably get an idea of, and she's ambitious, and she will make this work. So here's a relatively young mum. She'll be at the top of her game by next year as a female sailing athlete. And I think great role models for women and girls in this country to get involved in high-end sport and not even,
don't let it hold you back, sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah, and yeah. So I think it's a great storyline and good on her.
There you go.
John.
Well done, Nina.
Well done, Nina. Well done, everyone.
Let's just for those who don't know Nina, since we last spoke, Nina.
Let me say, Nina hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
just to give the listeners some perspective. Since we last spoke to Nina, which was episode 104. You've expanded your business, I reckon, doubled the size. You've got married, you've bought a house, and now you're about to produce a baby, and I'm starting America's Cup team. So,
bit of an overachiever, you say.
And of course, Liv is, heavily, I worked closely with Liv in the Sail GP, and she's, got her own Olympic campaign going on. So you guys are both busy, and you're taking this skipper role. Have you worked out that, we don't actually understand, when you're on the boat, you're both going to be sitting on each side, and one takes over the steering on, one's on port, one's on starboard. Have you had that conversation? Who gets port, who gets starboard? Is there any sort of stuff around that?
Strong game of rock, paper, scissors might be in order.
Whoever's got a sore neck on one angle on one day, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
no, I've got a sore neck. I want to be on port.
So,
I want to be on port tack today.
No, we haven't really got into those conversations. I guess what we want to see is firstly the simulator and start actually playing around. We want to make those mistakes and really learn from them and bring in the people to help us fast track that learning experience as much as possible. And, bring in the actual athletes and sailors themselves to help us figure it out. And we all work it out together as a team. And I think that's, something really cool we want to create in this squad. This squad of sailors is actually working together for this goal in both campaigns. And we're seeing people actually come in and applying for both the youth and the women's for their expression of interest, which for me is super exciting to think that, people are really getting excited about this. And we can't wait to kind of lead that process in trying to figure it all out. I've seen the brochure for the simulator. It looks cool. It looks like it's going to be super exciting. I know the software, we're starting to figure out exactly what the software is requiring, where we're setting it up, how many access keys we have and things like that. So all those discussions is just kind of like, okay, yep, what's next? Let's get us there.
It's a good point where you're setting it up. I'm assuming Jemoyne Sailing Club, is that right?
Yeah, in the downstairs bar there, I'm pretty sure.
Perfect. $2 a go.
Let's go to the table of knowledge.
Happy hour $1. See you tonight, Liv.
Let me say, we've got 2 patrons, myself and also John Winning Jr.
Yep, correct, yep.
And, he's an extraordinary guy. I got to know him more with I did a seminar for him, with him, and he hired the Sydney, what was it? It's called Luna Park for 3 days. 5,000 people attended. high-end sport, high-end human performance, and so on. And getting to know Herman more, he's just out of the box thinking. And that's the sort of thing that's required. This is not a linear type of discussion. This is okay. How do we take this thing forward faster than anyone else in the world? That's the thing. What do we need to be truly competitive in a relatively short time frame on a pretty damn slim budget to do what we did all those years ago with Australia too, where we're ahead of the curve in pretty much everything, the way we got out of bed in the morning, the way we saw ourselves attack, this concept of, of training, both physical and mental and all of those things. What is required? And Herman is excited about this, applying his left field thinking to this project. And of course, he's pretty damn successful in the super maxis and also the 18-foot skips. And so it's, we've got some interesting characters involved with this project.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do love that point you made there, John, about the way approaching things and being ahead of the curve. That's, obviously that was clearly evident with the Australia 2 campaign. And that's
my wife, Rose, has just gone through. She's just
the
2 kilometres. Cool.
We love that sort of stuff on this. We like the real life element to the
special guests.
This is going to the world. Say hello, Rose. To everyone. Here we go.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Don't pull me. I've got a
It's a family show.
I've been married to this young lady for 53 years.
I love it.
That's a world record in the America's Cup. Generally, they implode into a million pieces after 10 years.
Why do I do it? Why?
You know why you do it, Rose. You know.
Well, we are now talking about an athlete.
Just excuse me, I'm just going to find a book I need.
I will say, John, the last time we experienced that, we weren't video recording, and one of our guests, our partner, the wife came through, and she wasn't clothed.
Wow.
But what I'll tell you, John, it actually wasn't one of our guests. It was one of our hosts.
Oh, no.
One Jordan Spencer.
No,
That wasn't me.
That's not true.
Nice.
Anyway, so
Welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast.
So that whole element of being ahead of the curve is an interesting thing, and we have to raise the fact that in Sail GP we're talking one design racing over there, and the Australian team we've just witnessed win for the third time, where all the information is shared, but yet they still manage to find something. And so, from an America's Cup perspective, we're being completely biased here because we are Australian hosts. How do we get, you guys, you come from a culture where that success is something that we're able to generate. And is it something that we have naturally, or is it a different way of thinking, or is it just the put your hands in and go for it sort of Australian attitude? Is Australia sort of lucky that way? The Kiwis have it as well. There's no question.
I think the Kiwis lead the world in that thinking, I think it's a lack of resources that we have generally. The Kiwis' budget's typically about half of what their competition has traditionally. They just don't have the money. But they're very, very effective in how they apply their funds, how they apply their budgets allocation. In this country, it's remarkable what we've achieved for 27 million people compared to the USA and other countries. It's sort of a sense of innovation, sense of giving it a go. That's right. And also not necessarily locked into this is how we've always done it.
Yeah
right.
Outside the box thinking.
No question. And an interesting character is Ian Murray. Like, he's always over the horizon. And that showed up, I think, in terms of the Tokyo Olympics when he was head of high performance.
Yeah.
His work that he did with the 470 team, for example, with Victor Kovalenko, and, some of the work that he was doing, on behalf of the Australian Olympic sailing team, very, very impressive.
That's cool. Yeah. All right. So I got a question. You're seeing for the Australian females and youth, they're able to nominate. They can go to the website, which is the Team Australia Challenge. They can go to the website and nominate. Is there people that you want to have nominated that haven't nominated at this stage?
I think there's still definitely people out there that haven't put their expression of interest in. And because I'm down at Middle Harbour at the training environment, there's obviously conversations that, people have asked me saying, oh, where do I put this in, or how do I submit an expression of interest, which is, really exciting. There are people still out there that we may not even know. We may not even know that some people are interested or excited about this, or even just, even in some of our submissions, we've had people ask, oh, what about the shore team? Or, what about some other areas of development that they might have skills in? And, everything is being taken into account, and everything's being taken into account, and we're looking to basically leverage everyone's skills to be resourceful and actually get through here. So applications are still very much open, and we're hoping for a bit more of some people to still put their entry in, but also I'm really excited to read through some of them and figure out who some of these fantastic youth and female sailors are.
So what are the timelines exactly, Liv?
So we have expression of interest have been open all of this month of May. So they will start closing at the end of the month. And we'll have interview processes and various follow-ups and things like that will go on throughout the month of June. And we do hope to, in July, be able to announce a squad of athletes that could go forward from there. There may be some other things that we need to follow up on. And I guess this is a dynamic process in trying to figure out, okay, what access, when is this simulator around? It's currently scheduled for July, but there may be delays or things like that. So there might be still some milestones that we have to shift. And that's okay. That's part of it. But in the meantime, we don't really take our foot off the accelerator in terms of trying to figure this out as quickly as possible, to get on the water or get on that simulator, to start building that experience block. So all of May is for expression of interest and put your applications in. And look, if there's someone that comes maybe later, I'm sure that there'll be a discussion around how we can try and get people involved.
Australian Sailing will be utilising their database for around the country to spread the message and spread the website where you can apply directly. Because this is a national effort. It's not Sydney, it's not Melbourne. It's, we're talking about around the country. We want the best of the best, dream builders giving this a shot. And, it's like anything. They may end up in that squad of 6 people, whether it's male or female. And, of course, the youth team can be male and female.
Correct,
Combination, doesn't matter.
Interesting. I'm guessing some Higgins family kids better put their pen to paper. So this is the youth goes first when we get to the Cup, and the practice day starts on the 26th of September in 2024. That day, of course, will forever be the day that the Cup was won by Australia too. That was the 26th of September. And so it's a good omen for the youth team, good omen for that. Can we build this into a future Australia-America's Cup team?
I think it's an intriguing concept. Do we have the cash to really give this a good crack, to be able to play the game at the high level? Well, there's no better launching pad to excite people in this country following this particular project, both the youth and the women's America's Cup Challenge on behalf of Australia, to think, hey, this is worthwhile getting into the next level. So it is a pretty interesting launching pad. Are there any prospective individuals? Well, it's kind of interesting. There's some interesting discussions going on, but they'll be monitoring this particular both projects very, very closely.
We have an extremely wealthy female. Our richest Australian is female. So let's just, let's lead with our women. Our women have always been outstanding performers in our history. Australian women are real go-getters. And
look at women's. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at this. The rest of the world shake when they see the Australian women's swimming team come onto pool deck.
Yep. Yeah, across all sports, I think Australian women have always been incredibly strong. And again, to our international listeners, apologies for being biased, but we are Aussies, and we are going to be biased, I'm afraid. But we love all the other nations as well, but just not quite as much.
Just one for you, Liv. I'm looking at the Team Australia Challenge.org, your website. November 23 is the AC40 training camp in Sydney. How do you entail that going down?
November.
Have you got a bunch of moths or?
Sorry, say again.
The AC40 training camp in Sydney in November.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of moths, a bunch of anything falling. Herman's got the Comanche up on foils.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a sight to see? Obviously, we've got the use of the simulator, and that will be quite a key component of our training, as well as any sort of selection, as John said earlier. We are still trying to figure out exactly what platforms are going to be the best. There's a international women's foiling circuit that they're trying to build in Europe in the 69F. They're already doing a youth one at the moment. So, there's obviously lots of eyes on that with the American Magic team using that for training platforms and things like that in the short term. So, ideally we'd be able to start thinking about putting teams together for that. Now the Sydney-based one, we're looking at different options. We obviously don't have an AC40 that's going to be cruising around Sydney Harbour, as much as that would be really cool and an awesome sight. I don't think that's going to be, well, I know that's not actually going to be in the budget, nor the timeline. The foiling camp's going to be, the training camp's going to be a mix of both mental, physical, sailing, foiling, analysis, all sorts of stuff to really bring together the core of the team.
Oh, yeah. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. 100%. Maybe we could go live from alongside the simulator.
We throw water over ourselves, have someone with a fire hydrant hose there. That'll be funny.
So as a team trying to pull this together, what do you need?
Money.
Well, it's a very good point. I mean, John, you touched on it earlier about the trickle down of industries and the trickle down of future technologies. Is that kind of where you're aiming here? Something along the lines of that? You see sponsorships in these big level campaigns now. They're all based around the planet. They're based around the future energy systems, etc. Is that something you're sort of aiming for?
Well, we're needing. The key is corporate Australia. The government. We're not asking government money at all.
Yep.
It's too political, and there's no money anyway. We just see the latest budget where there's no increase in budget anyway for high-end sport in this country. So that part of it's under the pump, but primarily corporate Australia, and we're in the process of making delegations to them. Okay, brand Australia, being a proud participant on a global basis, companies which are built. There's no question the whole green energy thing is, direction is very, very important. Wind powered, hydrogen fueled boats, etc., chase boats. It's a pretty compelling story. Women taking on the world, youth taking on the world on behalf of our country. All of those elements are, we think are compelling discussions to have. Primarily we're in the process of getting back together. So once, the money will happen. I don't see it's an issue, to be honest, because of what we have here. And it's a relatively small budget too. It's nothing like the full-blown thing. And then the question is getting the best people in this country focused on a vision of giving this a real crack and getting rid of the egos and basically saying, okay, we have a level playing field. We have a unique opportunity. Let's get the best people involved in this team, both on the water and also off the water. So all pro bono, incidentally, in terms of the support team, including myself. And the question is, okay, get the best, most compatible, focused individuals that have a vested interest in moving Team Australia and brand Australia on a global basis forward, because this is an international opportunity.
Yeah, perfect. Well, anything we can do to help here at Bar Karate, obviously Bicey's mum and my mum are really keen listeners, and we'll put the word out via them. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, very important. We want to get this groundswell, which I think particularly next year, it'll start to become pretty significant.
Sure, absolutely.
The one thing I'd say, just while we're talking about opportunities, and you mentioned, John, that the government is tightening up on the budget. Obviously COVID took a lot of budget expense, and yes, the government's tightening that right up. But the thing that describes the Australian business or Australian economy at the moment is that it's dynamic. It's like our athletes, that they're out competing on the global scale, on the world. I work in that whole export world, and I would describe Australian businesses as go-getters, and it's a perfect correlation for them to come together and actually use this as a brand to open up the markets offshore for them, or actually test new ideas. So
and interesting enough, companies which are getting behind the other teams are this way orientated on behalf of their own countries as well.
Sure, absolutely.
Now, John, we know you've got to jump off. I wouldn't mind trying to keep Liv and Nina for another few minutes. Shall we give you that exit now, my friend, or?
Would be of great help, and thank you for the time, and really appreciate this type of profile to get the message out. It's a matter of developing the groundswell and for people to, start to get a handle on the opportunity we've got here.
Yeah. Best of luck, mate, and thank you for backing this team.
Thanks, John.
No worries.
On you, JB. Speak soon, mate. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Liv and Nina, let's sort of just drill into the sailing element of it a little bit. For the both of you, you've obviously, I'm pretty certain you're good mates. I don't know. I've never actually interacted with the two of you together, but I know you've done a lot of things together. But, from your perspective, just as young fans of the sport, as kids, are you pretty surprised to be in this situation?
I reflected recently that Olivia and I finished the London 2012 Olympic Games, and, feeling at the top of our game and really loving match racing, really loving that kind of combative sailing. And then the rug was pulled out from under us, and that was it.
Yeah.
And really hard to find a gig in match racing really, since it really shut the women's international circuit down, which was generating good prize money and a good income that way. And just unfortunately with the timing and how it went, it really just shut it down. And so there is something quite bizarre, this far down the track, over 10 years later, that we're looking at an opportunity to be able to do some match racing again is pretty extraordinary in that sense. And I think, that the America's Cup is something that I've just lusted after for so long, and, dabbled in other elements of it. My brother works as a rigger over a ton of different teams and has made a career out of that. And it's just something I've never been able to get close to. And so in terms of that, as well as a female, it just it's extraordinary, and it's a pinch me. It's too late and it sucks. It should have been happening earlier, but pretty stoked to be here and pretty proud, to have been able to put an Australian entry forward into something that last time we were tested, we got the silver medal. We nearly got the gold. So, we've got the history's with us as well. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I remember that final just exactly like I remember the last race of the America's Cup. I remember watching you guys. It was a windy race. I remember every single thing about that, and almost tears in that day. But anyway, the from the perspective of the sport, being able to do it, being able to sail it, the match racing element of it, you're part of the Australian Sail GP team. Have you worked out different tactics, or have you been thinking about how the tactics will play out given the higher speeds? There's a few clear things that we saw in the last Cup, I'm interested if you guys have already progressed to that sort of thought process, or that's too early. We're too early in the sort of cycle.
Oh, never too early. I think you're thinking about it all the time, and you're right. You're completely right that the speed is the biggest factor. And even watching the last cup as well and how that unfolded. And, it's we're a long way from that, quite beautiful traditional like dial-ups and reverses back and that like magic. I'm just such a fan,
Me too.
there was some pretty cool racing involved in that as well. And it's changed so much. And it's cool, like I'm a speed demon. I love going fast. But there's something like wildly different. We're talking a completely different beast racing at those speeds. And, the most important thing is your boats, not even just your boat speed, your ability to get to full speed and not slow down and not make errors. And it's those like putting together those small 1%ers is what, the Australian Sail GP team do extraordinarily well. And you just wear your opposition down that way. And I think that that's going to be probably one of the most important factors that we'll have to, take heed of and use that kind of experience that we've got and make sure we're executing that on the 40.
I guess in the lead up, sorry, just quickly, I guess in the lead up to when you get the boats, there's going to be a different element. You're going to try and find out who you're going up against and try and get some mental knowledge on them in the build up to that, because ultimately you guys have come from the match racing scene together in back in 12. You've got that experience. Now you want to know who you're up against in this particular event. It'll be interesting to see who does pop up and go, yeah, well, I know her weaknesses, or I know know her strengths, and try and put together a bit of a game plan off the water.
On that, had pretty interesting discussions with quite a number of people around on the circuit with who's jumping into which team, what they're trying to do. It's exciting to see some girls coming back. The Dutch program is quite. They've always been quite resourceful, similar to Australians and Kiwis. Annemiek Beckering is involved in some of that sort of stuff, as well as the current FX World Champions Adil and Annette. It's going to be a really exciting opportunity, especially to see some mix of match racing and fleet racing in the event itself, but then also in the skill sets of the sailors and the athletes. So it's going to be pretty cool to see who's around and who's kind of up for the job.
It's going to be
hard. You don't
hard.
know what kind of sailor you're going to be as well.
No.
Yeah. Well, this is the other thing,
You don't know what your strengths or weaknesses are going to be. And it's quite, you got to be quite vulnerable. The position that we'll be putting, or anyone on the squad will be putting themselves on. And so I think the sooner you can shelf like everything you know about yourself, your own abilities and your opposition, and
start from scratch.
Exactly. I think that's what it's going to feel like in reality.
Just think about this though. Like about this. Sorry, boss. It's match racing, right? And you've got two helms people, right? So you got two helms going on. If you were doing dial-ups, right, and your boat was head to win, how confusing could that get? Hang on, I'm strict. No,
I want to go up. I want to go down. I want to go up.
But even so, if you extrapolate away from that, just where you transition, the way you guys will have to interact and talk the tactics and what you're trying to set up. Where you're going to be swapping roles. I'm going to be doing tactics. I'm going to be doing this. Okay, here, right. This is what we're trying to do. That communication is going to have to be all time. I'm afraid you guys are just going to have to live with each other from now on, and just stay as close as possible, because it's just going to be insane. You
need to get to that like beautiful spot in racing when you've sat with someone for so long that you know what their like eye twitch means and what if they're tensing up, or what the subtleties of their steering. And I think it's going to get to that stage. And you see the cup teams like in the last cup, you could see how it was pretty magical to watch. It's pretty extraordinary, like the way that they're racing these boats. And so we might have to bunker down with
do it all again.
Are you going to bring a ginger on board?
It does seem to be a magic Australian component, doesn't it?
Is it part of the process via the expression of interest?
Hair colour.
Hair colour.
The ginger disclosure.
The Ginger challenge. Here we go. There's an offset.
We'll dye hair if necessary. Gingers, you're very welcome.
I love it. Yeah, it's an exciting opportunity, and I think when we go back to what you were talking about with how difficult it was, like as you said, you guys were at the top of your tree 2012 and it all disappeared. Definitely our sport's trying to push forward in that way and try and give equal opportunity out there for everyone. So you guys are joining into the cusp of that wave, and this is going to be a great one. And I think the thing that's going to really add value is the timing of the racing, like we won't have dead time between the America's Cup races. America's Cup will sail, and then we'll be watching the youth racing. We'll be watching you guys depending on which part of the cycle it's on. But you guys are right there, so they do the youth first, and then we roll into the women's. So it's going to be, from a visible perspective, it's going to be fantastic. The question though is, who are the main threats? Have you worked at any? Have you been looking?
I think it's always going to be difficult to compete against the teams that are integrated with a cup team, with the resources and so forth. But I would consider us, pretty, in a not a bad position as Australians with, we've got John Bertrand supporting us. And we have the best sailors in the world over all sorts of teams, onshore teams, the resources that we can tap into. It's just outrageous, and it's kind of staggering to think. And, Olivia and I have definitely been, having conversations about how we can make the most out of this unique opportunity and, extract as much information as we can from people, far and wide over all sorts of other teams. And so, we'd be silly if we're not, thinking about that now and how to best, tap into that level of experience that we've got. So I think that will help us level out. But I do think that there'll be the teams that we've really got to set our eyes on and watch and use them as the benchmark to at least bridge that gap, once we're getting those hours on the water, to bridge that gap quickly and then go from there.
That's very cool. Unfortunately, we're sort of at our time. So what I'd like to suggest to you both is that as this progresses, if we could just do regular updates. If you guys are interested and you want to come and share what's going on, you're more than we'll open invitation just to come back on the show. And we'll try and sort of help you all the way as much as we can. So if you're interested, that's something that would be good. I know, Nina, you're madly trying to cover up the noise of contractors around your house at the moment. But
can you hear it?
No, you're good. You're absolutely.
Looks like you've locked yourself in a little bathroom or something. Looks like you're sitting in the bath.
I'm on my bedroom floor at the moment. It's been a manic week, but I'm hoping to take a little bit of leave.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good excuse
Probably
coming
about
up.
Time.
Yeah, we'll let you off for about 3 or 4 weeks. How's that sound?
Perfect. I'll be ready.
And Liv, welcome back to Australia after a huge effort overseas.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could probably have you on to have a chat about that at some stage. That would be interesting as well.
Yeah, look, it was my first time here at Barkarati, and I've loved every minute of it so far.
Well, one of the things
they're idiots, aren't they?
That we do have to get into how this is going to impact in and around the Olympics, and that element of it. But I think we'll probably come back to that because we've chewed up our time. So yeah, we'll leave an open invite how it's going to work in and around the Olympics. But I do want to say, Nina, best of luck in the next few weeks.
Absolutely, thanks.
And Jordan is a great name, male or female. And Liv,
under consideration.
Guaranteed a ginger then.
And Liv, we're 100% behind you. And TV, isn't it? It was something with Evie. Yeah. So.
Eva.
Yeah. So to the both of you, just best of luck. And if you need anything more to get this challenge up and all connections, we're there for you. So best of luck. We can't wait for you. And smash. I really like the idea of being there for the simulator challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All righty.
Nice.
Good on you guys.
Truly inspiring, ladies. And we look forward to seeing the progression.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having us, guys. It goes a long way. Cheers.
Yeah. We'll chat to you again soon.
Cheers. Exciting times. Been a while, I could say, we all say, since Australia's committed. And I think one of the other points that was made a bit through that is if you look at the Cup, even from before 1983, Australians have made their mark. Sure. 83, obviously a big mark, and then 87, it being in Australia. And then moving forward over from then until now, there has been Australians and Kiwis for that matter that, from here that have been involved in one way or the other. And this to me is the step that we've all wanted. We've all wanted an Australian team of one sort. And this for me just makes perfect sense and damn excited.
I mean, it got a little bit serious, and we're happy to go serious if it's informative, but what an honour to be able to chat to, let's call it the founders of the challenge within the girls, and of course, patron JB, and actually to be able to chat to them in such a manner that is exactly how we wanted bar karate to be, like pretty relaxed. And just hear how they're going about things.
Nina sitting in her bathroom floor, and just
mate, bloody cool.
Very cool.
So cool. And remembering actually my opportunity when I tried out for Young Australia. Went up to Sydney. There's a whole bunch of us tried out on Ragamuffin, then we ended up on the Cup boat and a few different things like this. This stuff is going to change people's lives. Right absolutely. Now. It's not only going to change people's lives, but inspire the next people, as we spoke about. So,
which is the exciting part, because it's the whole Cup, if you like, the face of the Cup is changing. There's no question that we're heading towards, the multi-event attitude. The women's, the youth, and the Cup, and I don't like to segment it. I think it's all the event itself is one event. There are different trophies and there are different elements, but I just love the idea, and I think that it's going to create a big focus. And we want the Australian public to get behind this big time, so we'll do our best to.
Oh, mate, and this is the greatest stepping stone for Australia to be
on all level ground, on
all levels.
Yeah,
and that includes fighting out to win the America's Cup. So, bloody good, love it.
Well, I'm excited to see all the nations, to be honest. I can't wait, And last night I was looking through, because the French team, Bruno, big bad Bruno, I think shared it, or I'm following some page anyway. But I was looking through the names just to see who will pop up.
Hashtag
in the future.
Big Bad Bruno. That's going to come up soon.
He'll love that too. He'll be into it. Anyway, so Cup. Love it. Can't wait. A year out, just over a year out until we get going. Year and a bit. Can't wait. And best of luck. And if you are interested, of course, just Team Australia Challenge, put your hand up. Go for it. You want to be at the top of your game, but that's what you want.
Well, no, and top of your game, yes, but I'm sure there's other areas as well that this will create some pathways.
Yep.
And that includes from a shore team perspective.
Yep.
And also from a technical perspective, because that's all
even more
major
from a
elements.
business perspective. We know.
You know what I want? I want everyone to tie in, and then we get a Cup team up and running, and we're away.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, SailGP 3 wins in a row. We're going to be able to put a pretty formidable sailing team together. Just between the three of us, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
enough
the
said.
boats are getting to less people. I mean, we're looking good.
All right, shall we go into other news?
Other news.
All right.
Very good.
Club events. Heads up for anyone in Australia. Bundaberg Sailing Club have got their all boats together, 8 to 9 July. Just thought I'd let that out. So Bundaberg, for those who you are non-Australian, Bundaberg, the home of Bundaberg Rum. So I don't know how much sailing is actually done at this regatta. I might go up just to see.
Is that not also where the drop bear was derived from?
Exactly. There are drop bears there.
Yep, size of a small family car.
That's right.
Be careful. Watch out, tourists.
Oh man, it freaks me out. You see all these stories of people overseas worried about spiders, snakes, and all this other crap, and no one never mentions drop bears. Yeah, the drop bears. That's the stuff that scares us. All right. The other element that we probably got to mention is the Sailing Champions League. That is definitely on the card. So.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was just looking at it as we were speaking. So.
Well, the Asia Pacific Finals at Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club next week, 20 to 21 May. So for all the Southern Hemisphere people, and I suppose the Pacific goes past the equator. So, for anyone in that sort of Pacific region, the finals are on at Royal Prince Alfred, which are very experienced at hosting events. Great stretch of water there as well on the Pittwater. Not named after Brad Pitt, another Pitt.
John. Whoever he is, but no, special sort of mention out to Matt Butterworth this morning, because he actually sent a message in Bicey. I don't know if you've seen it, inviting us up for the weekend.
Here.
I saw that.
I said I can't answer for you, Bicey, but unfortunately I'm going to be away. But how cool is it that he goes out of his way to not only mention the event as we want people to do, but to invite us to the event to be flag officers? I'd love to put a flag up at the start of that thing. How cool would that be?
Mate, I need to get back in the whites at some point in time.
Oh, well, I'd have to go and buy some just to be a part of it.
So,
hang
what
on.
do we got? We got 3 Vic teams.
No, let's just hold up. We're not going to promote this anymore.
Okay,
I'm out.
No worries.
All right, ignore it. There's no Queensland team.
Well, so what? Move on.
Comments from the super coach.
That's bizarre.
3 from Vic, 5 from New South Wales, 4 from SA. Good contingent there.
Yeah.
WA 1, Tassie 1, ACT 1,
and other.
And the Pacific, Jack Johnson.
Yeah,
That'll be interesting, playing his guitar as he's coming into a dial.
My type of team. I might go and join that one.
I like it. But
it's exciting stuff.
It's got no credibility anymore. Now
No banana benders.
No banana benders. Jeez. Anyway, best of luck to all those competing, though. It's a great event.
They missed the start. They were half hour behind. Hang on, that's South Australia.
And to Mark Turnbull, our good friend, mate.
Yes.
He's amazing. He's putting a lot of effort to make that work. So it goes on to the world final, of course. So there's finals all around the globe, and then they have a big battle off for the final. Who's going to win? The lead boat?
South Australia.
I think when you look at a good friend of yours, Robbie Doosan, taking the helm for a cruising yacht club, South Australia, that could be I think they'll be up there on the youth side. Young Ben Hanks or Carter Baker from SA. Obviously rooting for them for for obvious reasons, but there's a pretty good lineup there.
Pretty solid from the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, I was just going to say the New South Wales team to drill this stuff a lot harder, so it'll be interesting. But good fun. It'll be good fun.
Yeah, can't wait.
Best of luck to everyone competing. All right, Jack Lloyd, listener of the week. We've got a few things coming in there. One, Thomas Quick gave us a little bit of a note, sending on the launch of I Know Racing's boat from Carrington Boatyard.
Yes, the 45 or 6 was it?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yep. But she's a glamour. But anyway, sent us a bunch of photos on that. But the other one, go on. You going to say anything there, boss?
No, I'm just concurring.
Yeah. So we got an email. Before I got this on the run sheet, which is quite beneficial for us, BP, because you and I both know what's coming up, but Bicey has no clue. And Sam Hunt sent us an email. Do you remember that one, BP?
Yes.
I'll leave the Neil Pride thing because that's another one. But he did mention, do you want to run with it, BP?
I will, and I think we do need to mention the Neil Pride. I know you didn't want to, but
we're in good conversations with Neil.
Yeah, no, basically this rolls on from Bjorn Dunkerbeck last week. Sam sailed with Neil Pride a lot over the years in the Asia Tour, and passed on the podcast link to him, and Neil Pride has come back saying, exact words, I listened to the podcast, it was very good. Bjorn made an excellent presentation of the sport. I was very impressed. Now, I think he was more leaning towards being impressed with Bar Karate, not necessarily Bjorn Dunkerbeck. So we're pretty happy with that. Thanks, Neil. We'll look at get you on the show for sure.
Can I just say, Neil, I've almost finished your book, ready to get you on. Now I've done the full history.
Done the research.
Yeah.
Then Sam went on to bring up a really interesting point. Now, Bicey, I hope you're sitting down.
I'm going to get the camera zoomed in on Bice, righto?
Yeah. I haven't heard much talk about Land Rovers on the show for the last few weeks, is his comment. Is that because JLR, now I'm assuming that's Jaguar
Jaguar Land Rover. Yep.
Jaguar Land Rover is retiring the Defender name tag. There will no longer be Land Rover Defenders in the models of Land Rovers.
Baccarati's killed the Defender.
Man, I hate to disappoint you, and whether this was some little ploy between the two of you, but Land Rover haven't made a real Defender since 2016.
Oh.
So
he's on the back
current
foot.
Defender
against the wall, and he's coming out swinging. Hey, listen, I'm not involved.
The current Defender just a discovery. Is that all you're going to say?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
Current Defender is a bit of a glorified discovery. Right. I mean, by all means, you'd love to get one. Your hands
I saw one. I did see one in the city the other night. I took a photo. I'll send it to you.
There's a Defender I drive. Yeah.
But as far as Defender, that was retired in like 2016.
Oh,
so
anyway,
you're going to have to try a little bit harder than that, my friends.
Well,
what I love is that our loyal listeners are getting involved with the conversation about Land Rovers and not caring about sailing.
Thomas,
hey Land Rover, why don't you get on board? Come on.
Anyway, right, Thomas, I'm very. It's an easy win for Thomas here on that one. That was good. But keep sending photos of boats being launched. That was very good too for us.
Yeah, good.
Sam.
Equal win. Tommy Slow and Sam Hunt. Yeah,
Sam. The Land Rover stuff.
Good mates of mine. Good mate of ours.
Love it. Love it.
It's hot time with Bice.
I bet you didn't sing that to that song on the chick on the plane.
Feeling hot. Feeling a little hot under the collar, yeah. Rightio, man. Winners and losers this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's been some big winners, of course. What do you want? What do you want? The winners? Winners or losers first?
You've said big winners, so I'm ready to go with winners.
Big winners. Well, of course, can't go past the Ocean Race, 11th hour. Took
huge win.
The leg out. 17 lead changes with Militia throughout the actual leg. A full NARM off in the last night coming in, of which will be spoke about in a minute. But 11th hour came out with the win into their home port nonetheless.
Yeah.
So congrats to them. Charlie Enright, Simon Fisher, Francesca Klapic, and Damien Foxall.
Damien Foxall. Absolutely. Big call.
And
gets
of
on the boat and has a win.
Amory Ross capturing it as well as he could. And I actually saw a bit of when it was the full Heen coming into Newport in that little system that went through, or big system rather. There was no way they were getting any footage off the boat. And it was a bunch of text messages going back and forth between the team, the race, the shore crew, and all sorts of stuff.
It was heinous, yeah.
It didn't look like much fun at all. So congrats to them, and couldn't have done it coming into their home port. Couldn't have done it better. It's going to make for a pretty good stopover. Probably, not many sailors will be around. That's the unfortunate thing. But well done to them. And then, of course, the three-peat Sail GP.
Yes.
The Aussies did get up over the K1s.
Hey, how good were they that weekend? That whole weekend, they were on fire.
Yeah, they were
on fire. Yeah.
It's just like they must have been.
Turned it up a notch.
They must have been experimenting with lots of things and then hiding it all year, I reckon. They did enough. Once they were in, then they just started experimenting.
Until
I did the top mark.
Maybe the last tack of the $1 million race.
And I spoke to Sammy Newton about this.
Yeah.
It's not as though I thought they were done for.
Well,
I really thought they done. I thought the Kiwis had done them, and they were mentioning that magic number, 30 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
You drop below that,
you're buggered.
You're in the shit, basically. If you maintain
you're in business class.
And I was watching 32, 31, 32, 33, and then they're back up and going.
I did actually touch base with Sammy, first of all, to congratulate them and obviously to Tom and everyone. But I did say, gee, how are you feeling at that top mark? He said, look, we just wanted to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
I said, well, you definitely did that.
Succeeded.
Congratulations, everyone. All the boys putting in a hard job, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, fantastic. And to everyone.
But the Kiwis, Credit to the Kiwis.
Yep.
They didn't sail that well for the whole weekend, but they sailed extremely well in the last race, the $1 million race.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting too, though, from the other point of view, with Team GR, had a cracking weekend and just didn't quite Emirates GBR and just didn't quite get it in that last race. But anyway, that's how it goes. We know that, but you would have they were sort of battling got smashed at the start, didn't they?
The Emirates team got some bad news. There was a lady took a big dump on an Emirates plane in business class. They lost a few of their key supporters.
Had to pull a bit of sponsorship
to get the cleaners in there. They held up the runway and airspace for 12 hours. So off the bundle. Couldn't put the latest bit of electronics on the boat.
Anyway, go
on. Rightio, the losers. Of course, let's go back to the ocean race. Brought environment dropped its stick.
I feel so bad for those guys.
I mean,
do you know the
it
problem with
happened in
that?
the Heen coming in?
Yeah.
I haven't heard what's happened. Actually.
Apparently, it would happen a while ago. Like the fault happened quite a while ago. When Alex was walking up the mast, he did some damage
in his stilettos,
in his high heels.
Has damaged some laminate.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've been saying for ages, we've sort of that the breaking point of these boats is the mast now. That was always the case, and we've seen two mast failures. So I wonder how the IMOCA world's going to respond to this. I think that's going to be the interesting one. The other really difficult point is obviously we know Team Wholesome have got their mast. Its section is in Newport, and they're pulling it all together right now. But Geo Environment now they're madly because with the utmost respect to the manufacturer of those masks, they're French. They could go on strike for a few weeks just for random issues. We're getting close to summer. They could be shut down for a few months. It is not easy to get a mask sometimes.
There you go, all our French listeners.
We love our French friends.
You got to really push in to get over that 35
Bruno, next
hour
time
week.
I see Bruno, he's going to flatten me. I can sense it. It was just a joke, Bruno. Anyway, so the genuine element of that statement is, I wonder if where's the second section lying around?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, and I don't think it's a big budget program.
No, you can sort of tell by, all the goings on. It's been a tough regatta for them, and good on them for pushing and staying in there. But it's been a tough regatta for them, hasn't it?
Yep. Here.
So all the people in Newport, get behind them, eh? Let's give them some love because
they deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve it. They're working their asses off. They're trying to do the best they can, and they've had a real bad run of luck. So let's go the underdog. Let's get behind Geo Environment. I love it.
Yep. Cool. There's obviously a few other things going on, but as far as hot time and the winners and losers, there you have it, gents.
Okay, cool. I'll just point out with Sail GP, of course, now that the season's over, there's a big long break. We, of course, sailing
a good 6 months off.
6 months off before sailing gets BP's trying to show us something. Oh, what's that? Is that the wind direction?
You're about to bring it up.
Oh, no.
According to the run sheet.
Not yet. I just wanted to mention, I know where you're going though. So Sail GP kicks off race 1 of the next season in Chicago, 17 and 18 June.
Straight into it. Like they literally, the shore crew, the dudes on the shore and lasses on the shore are just unpacking one tent and wings and just moving it straight up to Chicago. So
it's
basically full time now.
It is, yeah. It never stops.
Full time.
Yeah.
I did hear because Sammy Newton was doing a lot of sailing, obviously in Netchels, with Sevi Jarvin and Jean-Claude Strong. Just did the Worlds, and I think he's just realised that there's just too much on. He might, look, and I can relate to that. I mean, the loads that are, the work that's involved now, and if they're going to go to 13 or whatever they said events, that's a lot.
BP. So you're saying Sammy Newton mightn't be able to do any more Etchell sailing? You can't do any more Etchell sailing because your business commitments.
Yep.
Where are all the big fellas going? Who's going to step in and fill the void?
Well, I think it's going to go to 4 people.
4 people. 4 little people.
Hmm.
It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. I think Etchell should go to 2 people. They should go to 2-up racing.
Double-handed.
Double-handed. I want to see the big fellas get a run. Oh, dear. All right. Our little mate Xavier doing the little Aussie lap. He's trying to. So the scenario for the offshore people, there's a world record where for racing around Australia, and the record's currently was Lisa. Was it Lisa?
Yes, it is.
Yes, Lisa got the record in a open 50. I think she did it. And so Xavier, our little mate Xavier from the Gold Coast, a little 22-year-old little tiny fella, he's about my size. He's going to try and go around in a mini 650, and he's well underway. Little Aussie lap, if you want to search it out. And he just pushed out of the Gold Coast in dead light wind, but after he'd gone 100 mile up the road, he just hooked into the massive southeast. Basically, it's a trade wind that's just been, it's trade wind set in, and it's just honking, and he's just honked up the coast, and it looks like it's going to last him right across, almost to the top of Australia. But anyway, where is he, BP? He's just about to hit the top of Australia at the moment.
I'm actually very impressed because, we said that he had to sort of get some good 150-mile days, which in a mini is a lot of work. I mean, that's keeping the thing above 10 knots is not easy on a boat that size, 21 feet long. For those who don't know, a mini 650 is 21 feet long and about 3 meters wide. So she can get sticky in the light, but to keep it above that number has been impressive. Xavier Dor now is well past Cape Horn. Cape York. Cape York.
Wrong way, dude.
Cape York, which is
tell him to turn back.
The turning point for where he heads across the Gulf of Carpentaria. And he, looking at that, I don't exactly know the exact distance, but he's a good solid 100 or 200, maybe 150 mile in front of the current record.
Yeah, well, the other thing is because he's on that little boat, he's cut through the reef. He can take a little more risk. So he's actually dove through a gap in the reef, and he's going to come in tight around the top of Cape York, not Cape Horn.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. And so that might save him a day as well. So should pick up his skirts and go with that little thing. But I don't know if you guys watch. He does a Facebook update every day, and every update, the first one looked like he was sitting on the crapper. So I sent him a note, and I said, "Are you sitting on the crapper?" And he's got, "Oh, might be."
Yeah, right.
And then everyone sits. It looks like he's just lying on a bloody lilo in the bottom of the boat. He's done them all from lying down. It looks like he's spent the whole trip sleeping. So
it's pretty wild. I mean, I personally have actually sailed this part of the world. I've done this whole trip, and the next part across the Gulf of Carpentaria for me was about 3 days. But so he should be able to get across there pretty quick if he can sort of sit on that 6-7 knots. But when it gets really tricky is the next part where he joins up to Australia again in Arnhem Land, which is Nullarbor, and goes up around the top of what they call the Vessel Islands group, and then around to Darwin. That area is notoriously light, and so and then across the top the Kimberleys again. So this is going to be a real test, and potentially offshore is going to help, but we'll see how it pans out.
He needs perfect conditions.
Oh, hopefully he can put a few more miles ahead of the record and drop in for a brisket.
Put it in the bank.
Still going.
Drop in for a brisket. The invite. He knows the invite's there. He's very well aware of it, and he listens to the show religiously. So yeah. All right. Should we get back into the Imoccas, because it's the double-handed season, and the Guiada Bermudes 1000, which is basically a triangle race off from Brest out to Fastnet and then the waypoint in the middle of the ocean, and then back into Brest. So it's a triangle, and it's been done and run. And the interesting thing, because we spoke the other week to Sammy Goodchild on his boat For the Planet, and he's partnered up with Tommy Riunt, and he's got his new boat For the People. Well, not a bad debut for a new boat. A win.
Yep, not bad. Yep.
A win. So
just a win.
So Tommy has the win with Morgan Lagreviere. Vivier. La Gravière. Did I even get close, do you reckon?
No, but I loved it.
I loved it too. 4 days, 6 hours, 15 minutes, 2 seconds. And then Sherelle. So Jeremy Biu and Frank Camas. Now, there's some pretty good names on that one.
There's some good names there.
Into second.
Only, 20 minutes behind?
Yeah, just over 20 minutes behind. And then another few hours later is Sam Goodchild with Antoine Koch into third on For the Planet, which was the old Linked Out, which was
was effectively his first race. So pretty good effort.
Massive effort. Sammy Samantha Davies.
Sammy Davis Jr.
That's going to stick.
Played her trumpet the whole way around.
Mr. Bojangles.
Mr. Bojangles with a cigar. Now, come on.
Max,
what a huge effort. Yeah. Well, all of them. I mean, it's great. But obviously a mention goes out to our good mate, Scotty Shaw from Canada Ocean Racing.
Yes.
Canada. Yeah.
Canada. Our man from Canada.
Love got to bring up cutting shirts they wore.
Do need to bring that up. So well done to Scott, getting out there and amongst it. So it's all good.
Bravo.
I was just looking at one of the yachts that abandoned, and the name of the boat is Human Immobilier, but I read it as Human Immobilizer, which I think is pretty good. Anyway, small event. There's a lot. It's the year of the double-handed stuff for the IMOCAs, so keep your eye out. There's plenty coming up. And it's all a ton of fun. The other thing that is going on right now, which is of interest, given we spoke to Bjorn last week, is the IQ for Europeans underway. Right up near the end of the event. So in the blokes, Sebastian Cordel is first, so the German, and then 2 Dutchies, Luc van Oostbeland and Kieran Badlow. Oh, Kieran Badlow popping up. And then our little mate, Gray Morris, has been on the show in 5th. Going well, Grazy.
Grey dog.
On your Grey dog. Good job. I'm just trying to check. But this is where big people shine, so congratulations. The Israeli women are looking really good. Sharon Cantor and Shahar Tibi are the top 2 females. Emma Wilson in 3rd. So looking good there. So she's from the UK. But that's underway. It's right there near the end of it. Not too much left to go. I think we're about to go into the medal race. And, they do a lot of races on these things. Jeez, do they do a lot of races.
Who did you say was in the men? Sorry, Sebastian.
Oh, I've gone now.
Leading the men. Sebastian Cordell, did you say?
I can't remember now. I've just dropped away.
Am I seeing the right leaderboard here? Updated 13th to the 5th. Gray Morris in 5th.
Yeah, that's it. Gray in 5th.
Got to mention that.
I did.
I've stumbled.
Are you not listening?
No, well, I was just looking.
He was reading what the results were.
Yeah, no, I got it. I just wanted to reiterate on it. That's all.
That's right.
What an effort.
Oh, dear. You can't pay for quality stuff. You can't pay for quality podcasting like this, I tell you.
No, it's fantastic.
Mate. Yeah, that's why they don't. Right?
Love it. No, really, really exciting.
Yeah. I think that's it. Is there anything else?
Yes.
Yeah, Gray Morris looks like he's come in 5th in the
believe it or not.
In the Euro.
A quick shout out to all the mothers out there.
Oh, of course.
On what is Mother's Day.
Holy God.
On the Southern Hemisphere, I think it is.
Haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to all the mums out there, keep inspiring your kids. Hope they brought you some great presents, and you enjoy your day with everyone. So,
while we do Barkarati.
Boys. Well done. We'll consider this a gift.
I forgot to say that this morning.
That reminds me. I better ring
the
my
kids'
mum.
footy. You got to do it for your mums, but yeah. Anyway, I'll get a double whammy here. I'll have to play this at home.
Yeah.
So yeah,
cool.
Good boys. Love your work.
All right, go in peace.
Good on it.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Peace, bros.
See you during the week. I'll see you live from New Zealand next week.
Take me home and fade in a tear.
Do anything like
a long white cloud, eh?
Thermal and big soft material.
They won't shit themselves on the plane.
I was thinking about upgrading myself to business class too.